What is up, everybody? This is your boy Jay Reed coming at you with another episode of Sports Blitz Media. Now, today is the 2024 NFL Draft. It's a very exciting day for all my football fanatics. We get to watch our favorite teams select our future favorite players. And we also get to come up with a lot of controversial conversations and topics. And we get to also see, you know, where a lot of these stars go. A lot of these kids are going to get drafted to a place that they will be calling home for the next, well, you know how the NFL works. So it may not be long, but could be for the next 5, 6, 7 years. Could be for the next 2 or 3 years. Who knows? But today is the 2024 NFL Draft. I'm super excited. As you guys can see, the Las Vegas Raiders will soon be on the clock. And going to just talk about the Raiders for a little bit, and I will touch on some other teams and what I think will transpire. But again, who knows when it comes to the NFL draft? I mean, you hear a lot of rumblings through the media, like this person's going to go here, this person's going to go there, but you never really know. You never really know what a team needs, what a team wants, or who they desire. Now, some of the picks are slightly obvious, like, for instance, the number 1 overall pick, if the Chicago Bears do not take Caleb Williams, then okay, then we're going to be off to a very interesting start because that would be something else. They went with a different quarterback. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to take Caleb Williams, 10 times out of 10. But we are looking at the Las Vegas Raiders right now, and they have pick number 13. Now, the Raiders' biggest need is a quarterback. Last year, they had on their roster Jimmy Garoppolo, Aiden O'Connell, and Brian Hoyer. All they have right now is Aiden O'Connell and one of the new guys they brought in, Gardner Minshew. Now, I did like the Gardner Minshew signing. I am a fan of Gardner Minshew. I feel like the dude is a winner, but I do understand how the Raiders don't see him as their long-term solution at quarterback. I apologize in advance. I kind of am doing my podcast today outside, so you guys may hear a little rumblings and things like that outside, from cars to birds to maybe even a few bees buzzing by me, but that is okay. Like I said, just wanted to cover a quick little draft really quick. So anyways, like I was saying, I like Gardner Minshew. If whatever quarterback we do have ends up getting hurt, I feel like we have potentially the best backup quarterback in the league. Someone who has been around the league a little bit, but has been in different situations and scenarios, but he's won in each situation that he's been in my personal opinion. I mean, last year he was signed by the Indianapolis Colts, but the Colts drafted Anthony Richardson with their draft pick. Richardson goes down, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't think that the Colts season would be what it was last year, but Gardner Minshew ended up taking them to the playoffs. He had good numbers, and I like Gardner Minshew. He brings good energy to the Raiders locker room, and he reminds me of a Raider. Watched his interview with the Rush with Max Crosby, and I like his fit. I like Gardner Minshew. Like I said, he's a winner. He's a guy who likes to go out there and play. And so that's all you're really looking for when you sign a guy in the offseason. So, again, the Raiders have pick 13, and they need a quarterback. Now, what the Raiders ultimately want to do, and what they've tried to do already, is jump to that number 2 pick that the Washington Commanders have, because they want to get their boy and they want to realign the stars with Jaden Daniels. So if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, you want to do everything you can to get Jaden Daniels in Vegas. Bring him back with AP, Marvin Lewis, and some guys that he was with in Arizona State. That's the goal. Now, the Raiders tried to move up this week and past weeks to that number 2 spot, and unfortunately, the Washington Commanders aren't budging yet. Everyone has a price, all right? Now, the Raiders don't want to do too much. They don't want to give away too much draft capital, but at the same time, they want to get their guy. And so, as we've seen before, teams say they want first round after first round, but then all of a sudden you see teams trading for less. Now, I highly doubt the Commanders will trade that number 2 pick to us for less than potentially 2 first-round picks, but it's something the Raiders, should consider, especially because that's their guy, Jaden Daniels. They want him. Now, let's go off and say, hypothetically, the Raiders don't get Jaden Daniels. Who's the next best pick? I would have to say quarterback from Washington, Michael Penix Jr. Now, I feel like a lot of people have been sleeping on Mike this whole draft, kind of like downplaying his ability and downplaying where he should really go in the draft. I personally think he's top 3 quarterback in this draft, easily. Obviously, Caleb's a baller. We'll give him that, all right? Jaden, I think Jaden might be the best quarterback in the draft. I think he has the most experience. Obviously, he's been in college for quite some time, but I feel like he has the most experience. He's played under a lot of different systems and offenses and coaches. He's seen a lot of different defenses, and he's won a lot of football games. Jaden Daniels was our 2023 Heisman Trophy winner, and Michael Penix was right there, with his opportunity to win it as well. And so if we don't get Jaden Daniels, I would love Michael Penix Jr. I feel like he's a winner. He has a great arm, throws me off a little bit, lefties, but dude is accurate. He has mobility. He ran a 4.4. I want to say he ran a 4.4, 4.5 at his combine, but that's still fast for a man who had 2 ACL surgeries. I mean, he was riddled with injuries early in his college football career, but all that goes to show me is that the dude is a fighter. He's a battler. He knows how to overcome and persevere. Now, watching Michael this past college football season, he lit it up. Numbers were there. He took his team to the national championship, and that's the only game, which is the national championship game, that we have seen him kind of just, not fully himself. He was getting banged up. But granted, Michigan has been on a mission for the past 3-4 years. I mean, longer than that since they've had Harbaugh, but they've been knocking on that college football playoff door. They finally kicked that door in. Unfortunately, they came up short last year, but then this year in 2023-24 season, they finally got the job done and became national champions. And in Michael Penix's defense, he played the best defense that he's played all year and probably the best defense in college football last year. And they were beating him up. Michigan was on him. I mean, obviously, like I said, Jim Harbaugh was not going to let that opportunity go. And he didn't. He went out there and he won that national championship, and that defense beat up Michael Penix Jr. from pillar to post from the start of the game to the end of the game. I mean, we all remember Michael walking off the field, holding his ribs and so much pain, so much agony. I mean, the guy stood in there and was taking big hits trying to, help his team win the game. But when you really watch that game, they lost, right? But he made a lot of really good throws. He made some, not so great throws, but also he was under pressure for a lot of them. And a lot of the throws you really watch, I mean, off by an inch, 2 inches. I mean, there was a lot of opportunity there. But we're not going to dwell on that. That game came and it went. So now Michael sees himself, in the NFL draft. And I believe if the Raiders aren't able to get Jaden Daniels, I feel like Michael Penix Jr. is the next best bet. Okay, a guy who's played a lot of college football, who has experience, has a great arm, and when he comes into the Raiders fold, he already has a great cast around him from tight end to wide receivers. And the Raiders are only going to continue building at the running back position. Now, my man Zamir White really came in balling when Josh Jacobs went down last year. I personally think Zamir White turned himself into a top 5 fantasy running back at the end of that year. If you picked up Zamir White for the last stretch of the season, you know what I mean. I was one of those guys. He was able to catch out of the backfield. He was running hard. I mean, you give Zeus that opportunity this year, and I believe that he will be a top 10 fantasy running back or potentially fantasy player. But I'm also excited to see who else the Raiders bring in. There's a lot of other good talent at running back out there, and I would love to see them pair someone with Zamir White. And so I'm excited. I mean, again, this offseason in general has been something crazy in the NFL. I mean, from Justin Fields getting traded to Pittsburgh, while Pittsburgh already just acquired Russell Wilson. Pittsburgh loaded up with Russell, Justin, Patrick. They got a lot of other talent. But even if you look at the Houston Texans, bulked up their defense even more, adding the Danielle Hunter, right? But then bulks up their offense even more with adding a Joe Mixon and then trading for Stephon Diggs. So Houston's going to be one of the top favorites this year in the NFL. At least on paper. When you look on paper, Houston's it, right? So it's very exciting. It's a very exciting time, and I'm super excited to see what teams do, and I'm super excited to see some of my favorite college players end up where they land. Um, I'm gonna also go over who I think will get traded. What trades will happen? Who will be moving up in the draft? Like I said, there's a lot, but I'm just gonna give you some of my bold predictions. Now, one team that I feel like who's gonna make a really bold move, who could potentially make a really bold move, and they've been making a lot of bold moves already, is the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this offseason, the Chargers let Mike Williams test free agency. Mike signs with the Jets. They trade, yes, I'm saying traded Keenan Allen to the Chicago Bears. For what? Not much, right? Yeah, Keenan's a little older, but he's still a top-tier wide receiver that just bolstered up Chicago's offense. I mean, now you got DJ Moore and you got Keenan Allen. Some would say the best wide receiver duo in football. Two guys who are in their prime, who are ready to continue, putting up big numbers. So I'm excited to see what Chicago does, especially, because now they're finally helping their quarterback. All these years they were doing Justin Fields wrong. They didn't really bring in much talent for him. Yeah, they brought DJ Moore in, but you brought DJ Moore in, and then you just let Justin Fields go. And so they're really trying to bring a team in around Caleb Williams, which, you're excited to see for a young quarterback. You want to see a young quarterback have opportunity. You don't want to see them just look like Bryce Young. No offensive line, decent weapons on the outside, and your season, they're declaring you a bust already. No. Your organization, as an organization, you need to bring in players, right? Especially if you're going to draft a quarterback. Bring in players during free agency and then during the offseason that's going to help him, right? They didn't really do much for Bryce, but hopefully with this new regime, new coach, Bryce Young has a bounce-back season. I'm really a big fan of Bryce. I like Alabama, love Nick Saban, but I'm excited to see what Bryce can do in his second year. And so, yeah, the Chargers. So now you look at the Chargers roster, and it's nothing crazy, nothing spectacular. Like I said, Mike's gone to the Jets, Keenan's gone to the Bears, and then they also let Gerald Everett, their starting tight end, walk to the Chicago Bears as well. And so, what do they do? You're Justin Herbert. You're sitting there like, dang, like my whole team, my whole squad is gone. Like, who am I throwing the ball to? I like Josh Palmer. He's good, but is he a number one wide receiver? Not 100%. And so, are the Chargers a team to watch when it comes to making a trade? And you guys are probably like, who are they going to trade? Justin Herbert. It would only make sense, right? You trade Justin Herbert to a team like, the Minnesota Vikings? I know. It sounds crazy, sounds absurd, but come on now. We've seen what Justin Herbert can do. We know what his ability is. Now, we're not saying Jim Harbaugh is, crazy enough to let a quarterback like him walk, but at the same time, they're on a rebuild, the Chargers. And even though they still have a lot of young talent on their defense that they haven't let go, Derwin, Asante Samuel Jr., they still have a lot of talent over there. They're still in a rebuild mode. And I do believe Jim Harbaugh understands what value he can get for Justin Herbert. Now, the Vikings are a team that's looking to trade up into the draft, I'm sure, to get a quarterback. You have Drake May, you'll have Michael Penix Jr., you'll have Bo Nix, you have other quarterbacks out there. But why not trade some draft capital, right? Or why not, make a move for Justin Herbert? Pair him with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson. Immediately, the Vikings become contenders in that division, right? Now, the Vikings can trade up and go get a J.J. McCarthy, but I believe that if the Vikings trade for Justin Herbert, J.J. McCarthy's going to go back with Jim Harbaugh. And then you'll have another draft pick to where you can go pick up, a wide receiver, Roma Dunze, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thompson Jr. There's a lot of guys out there, right, that you could pair with J.J. McCarthy. And so I feel like Jim is trying to try to bring back that Michigan, that national championship team as much as he can. Blake Corum, I feel like they're going to draft him. It just only makes sense. These things are just things that seem like they just make sense. Now, again, it's the NFL. Does everything make sense? No. They do things that we're scratching our heads on all the time. Obviously, with the new rules they just put in place, with the new, kickoff rule or the hip drop tackle. A lot of head scratchers, right? But again, they're just trying to make our game safer. But I do feel bad for defensive players because it just makes their job that much harder. And so, yeah, if someone had to make a huge trade, I would. It would be interesting to see Justin Herbert go to the Vikings again. That would make the Vikings an immediate contender. Coach Kevin O'Connell would love to have a guy like that, leading his squad. And I just think it would be very interesting to see. And so, yeah, that's my bold trade prediction in the draft. Like I said, if the Raiders manage and are able to get Jaden Daniels, that would be unbelievable. But just to note, Jaden Daniels is projected to go number 2 overall, and the Raiders are at 13, right? That's 11 spots you got to jump to try to get your guy. Or if you can make a trade at 3 with the Patriots, you never know. But if the Commanders take Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix Jr. will be the best bet. And so, again, I'm just super excited to see what transpires tonight. Again, a lot of lives will be changed. These guys, man, this was something that as a kid I dreamed of. Fortunately, it didn't happen. But just watching these other young men fulfill their dreams makes me happy. You know what I mean? Because, again, it's a lot of hard work to get where they are. And they get to go out there with their parents and, get an opportunity to, meet Roger Goodell and go to their new cities and just really change their lives. So it's going to be super exciting to see. And I know there's going to be a lot of crazy things happening tonight. And so, I will be tuning in, and I can't wait to see what my squad does. And I really hope that Jaden Daniels becomes a Raider. But if not, hey, we'll take Michael Penix Jr. and build for the future. So that is my quick little draft recap. Obviously, there's a lot that's going to be going down tonight. But it's going to be exciting, and congratulations to all the young men out there who are chasing their dreams. Because if you're watching tonight, let this be something. It could be you. Whoever's watching this, and you're a young kid, young football player, it could be you out there. But it takes a lot of hard work, dedication, work in the classroom, and things of that nature. So continue striving and pushing to try to be the best player, student athlete you could possibly be. All right. Hopefully soon we get another guest onto the podcast. Like I said, it's not always easy to have a guest on here. I'm trying to do a lot of networking outside of, just trying to build it up and build up my own platform. And I'll continue doing that. I need to drop more videos once a week. And this is my one video a week, and maybe might drop another tomorrow to see kind of how the first round goes. But again, super excited. And I can't wait to see what the Raiders do. Also, congratulations to my guy, Max Crosby, for joining Team Jordan. That's big. Max, that fits you. You're a dog. Can't wait to see you rocking the ones out there, whatever shoes you're rocking. You and Devontae going to be cold out there as ice. But, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this quick little Sports Blitz Media video. I will be dropping, another video soon. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on IG. Come on, turn your boy up. Much appreciated. Stay tuned. Peace out.